Israel Gaza Iran War News Live Update. Iranian diplomat criticizes U.S. anti-Pakistan resolution. Iran's ambassador to Islamabad Reza Amiri Moghadam criticized the U.S. resolution on Pakistan's domestic affairs. On Saturday, Amiri Moghadam wrote on his X account, "Among wonders of modern ignorance, a country prevents ceasefire by veto, supports genocide in Gaza by providing lethal weapons to Zionist regime, but Congress passes a resolution questioning election in an independent UN member, extortion under the guise of." Pakistan's parliament passed a resolution condemning the U.S. Congress for blaming the election and intervening in their internal affairs, urging Washington to focus on Gaza's human rights violations. In his weekly press conference in Islamabad, the spokesperson for Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed regret over the U.S. Congress's arbitrary resolution against the elections, saying that Islamabad has conveyed its serious concerns to Washington and expects no country to interfere in Pakistan's internal affairs. Houthi strikes on Yemeni shipping channels have increased. They have hit many commercial ships in recent weeks, sinking one. Iran-backed separatists are also sending additional drone boats to sea. Recent Houthi drone boat strikes on commercial vessels, including one drowning, show that they're getting wiser. These devastating results suggest that the Houthis are learning from their months of continuous attacks on shipping channels in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden and are still receiving military and financial aid from Iran. They're learning, and they're receiving greater support, retired U.S. Navy Admiral Archer Macy told Business Insider. A useful disguise for Houthis. A June 13 Defense Intelligence Agency study found that Houthi attacks damaged 19 commercial ships between December and March. Some one-way attack drones hit warships, but missiles hit most. The Houthis lost a vital mission asset. A suspected Iranian cargo ship that provided targeting information and intelligence returned home. As Tehran prepared for Israel's unprecedented attack, MV Bashad left Yemen's seas in mid-April after months. Houthi attacks slowed in the weeks that followed. According to Military Times, rebel anti-ship ballistic missiles hit 3 commercial vessels in April and May. June was different. The Houthis began the month pledging to expand their attacks after American and British strikes in Yemen. The rebels have since hit at least 5 commercial vessels, repeating their early campaign success. Some cases exposed harmful new techniques. For the first time since November, the Houthis attacked a commercial vessel in the Red Sea with an explosive-laden drone boat on June 12. This rudimentary weapon was a small, slow-moving craft staffed by 2 dummies that resembled a fishing trawler, unlike the sophisticated naval drones that destroyed the Russian Black Sea Fleet in the Ukraine War. It traveled over 65 nautical miles across maritime channels without stopping. There's so many little boats in that stretch of water, and that's why, frankly, it's so hard to halt the smuggling of missiles and drones to the Houthis as well, Salafi Jihadism team lead and AEI Critical Threats Project analyst Brian Carter told BI. "You can't stop every small boat. I think it's a good disguise for them," said. Drone boats attacked the commercial bulk ship MV Tudor, flooding and damaging the engine room. Hours later, Houthi missiles hit the ship. The ship sank after the double-tap strike forced the crew to abandon it, becoming the second ship to sink since attacks began last October. The same week, the Houthis struck the MV Verbena with 2 anti-ship missiles in the Gulf of Aden. The week's second double-tap strike occurred 24 hours later when another missile hit the bulk cargo transport. The strikes damaged the ship, forcing the crew to abandon it. The Tudor and Verbena attacks, together with 2 previous vessel strikes in the days prior, showed a substantial improvement in efficacy of Houthi operations, according to British security firm Ambry. Carter stated, "Every Houthi attack, they're presumably learning what works and what doesn't. If you consider how a military organization operates, they're learning from their strike packages. Drone boats, double taps." Beyond the latest double-tap strikes, the Houthis' drone boat activities show they learned from earlier attacks. U.S. forces destroyed Houthi drone boats in Yemen nearly every time they tried to launch them into shipping waterways in the first 2 months of this year. However, in June, the rebels launched over a dozen drone boats, more than in any prior month. This allowed them to attack the Tudor, which was disastrous. The rise in drone boat attacks suggests the Houthis can adapt to U.S. strikes in Yemen, say experts. That could involve hiding them better or choosing better launch sites. It also means that the rebels may now have more such weapons, giving them more chances to launch and hit something. I think they've got more of them, so they're more willing to use them, said Macy, a senior associate with the Missile Defense Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. They're not precious, and they've probably simply improved. It's unclear what all Houthi drone boats look like, but the little fishing craft that hit the Tudor is cheap and easily turned into a weapon. Alex Stark, a RAND Corporation associate policy researcher who covers Middle East security, told BI that it is tough to prevent rebels from obtaining their low-tech, low-cost weapons and stop them from attacking. The attacks are an ongoing problem without a clear or practical answer at hand, she said. This week, White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said the Houthis had been more successful in their recent targeting, but most of their attacks have failed. The U.S. and coalition naval forces routinely destroy Houthi missiles and drones before and after launch, many of which land in the water. They miss a whole hell of a lot more than they hit, Kirby told reporters Wednesday. He said the U.S. will continue to degrade their capabilities through its strikes in Yemen, but warned that Iran has been supplying and funding the Houthis for years. The Houthis, who have no greater or lesser ambition than 6 months ago, have more capability and support, Macy added. Recent Houthi victories coincide with American naval shifts. The Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group, which fought insurgents for over 7 months, left the Red Sea, but the Theodore Roosevelt Group will replace it. U.S. officials warn that the fight is not winding down, and the mounting financial toll has raised worries about the counter-Houthi mission's long-term sustainability. Even though the Houthi assault has disrupted a critical global shipping route, experts say the rebels want to utilize their attacks to promote their narrative and credibility. The Houthis say their campaign is a response to the Israel-Hamas battle, but they also want to be a major participant in Iran's proxy war. I think they have realized that this technique is highly successful for them and tough to deter, Stark added. She suggested broad regional de-escalation may be the only sustainable solution, but it may not last. I don't imagine the Houthis would stop these attacks permanently. Visit Business Insider for the original,